U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin set to visit Beijing next week for another round of high-level trade talks. Then Chinese Vice Premier Liu He will travel to Washington the week after that. Let's bring in Heritage Foundation trade economist Tori Whiting. Thank you for joining us this Friday morning, Tori.
Good morning, Lauren.
We have all of these talks set up. Do we expect any action?
Well, I think that they're signaling that we might have some sort of agreement later on into March. This keeps getting pushed back, obviously, and it really comes down to the president making clear that he wants this to end, and he and President Xi sitting down and signing an agreement together. So that's really what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the lower level negotiations to conclude so that the two leaders can just come and sign the dotted line.
Yet the negotiators on Team Trump are downplaying a quick deal. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that there's still a lot of negotiations to happen. So far, we know that we have some sort of agreement on currency, but not a whole lot of movement or noise thus far on things like intellectual property rights protection or broader changes to investment restrictions. So those are the key issues we're still looking at seeing more details on.
It seems the easier part of this deal is to get Beijing to buy more of our stuff, right? And there's a report out there that the president wants them to buy $1.2 trillion of U.S. goods. Is there demand for that in China? And Tori, this is how I'm going to tie in the Boeing story. After what happened, the Chinese buy a lot of our Boeing jets. After the Boeing 737 MAX dilemma, tragedy, are they really going to continue to buy those planes?
Well, here's the thing. I think that this focus on purchasing agreements and this focus on the trade deficit is really a red herring in the negotiations. These negotiations need to be focused on the real long-term structural changes that we want to see in China. We need to buying things is a good thing, but the market will demand what should be bought and sold between the Americans and the Chinese people. The negotiations need to focus on those structural reforms.
The president has also said the tariffs are going to stay until they can guarantee that whatever deal they come up with, that there's enforcement of it, that the Chinese agree. How do you think the Chinese really feel about us saying, yeah, that we're not taking these tariffs off anytime soon?
Well, Lauren, as you know, I've said on this program many times that there should be no agreement between the U.S. and China unless it includes a removal of the tariffs from both sides of the Pacific. It's absolutely essential. This week, actually, the Council of Economic Advisors came out and said that the trade wars, the many trade wars, have amounted to taxes on the American people of an additional $14.4 billion in 2018. That's absolutely unacceptable. It's 70% more expensive to buy from abroad from the American people than it was a year and a half ago. This cannot stay in place.
All right, so you say take the tariffs off. They're hitting you and me. Tori Whiting, thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.